Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to video 19. We are almost to 20 in this WordPress beginners tutorial series. And we're just going to have a continuation here of our duplicator installation that I just left off on in the last video. So this is the screen you'll get to after it successfully installs. And it has some options here. It has some things it wants to show you. First, it gives you any notices on anything that it had issues with in the migration report. And in our case, everything was good, so we don't have any problems there. And then it wants you to log in and make sure that all the installation files get removed. This is pretty important. So we're going to go ahead and do that now by clicking this admin login. It's going to take you to the admin login on belfortflowers.site. See, so now this is officially on our live server. So I'm going to go ahead and just log in here. Okay, so I went ahead and just put the information in here, same as on my local host, and just hit login. And when it logs in, it's going to take you to this screen right here. And in this screen, you're going to see a few things. It's going to say installer file cleanup. That's why we hit it through the admin button here, because it's going to take us to the auto delete, which is recommended. So it automatically removed our dupe installer, our installer.php, the backup in the archive zip file, and another boot log or a log that it had. All these things you absolutely want removed. So that's great, and we're glad those are removed. We don't have to do it manually. In the old version, you had to do it manually. So here we are. We're on the back end of your same exact WordPress website that you set up, except now it's live on the actual website and server that we have set up. And we can see that if we go to the front end. And there it is. So here we are on a physical live site that now anybody can access. Even you watching this video, you're capable of going to this website. And it's live. So we did that pretty easily, didn't we? Like, that wasn't even a challenge. With Duplicator, it made it real easy on us. And being able to set up a basic cPanel and move it was a pretty easy job. So a few things here I just want to cover real quick that I want to just go over pretty briefly. After you install this on your site, you're going to notice a few things. First, with Hostgator, you're going to notice this here. This is the Hostgator Favicon. And I think this is just cached into my computer because I visited the site and it hasn't gotten rid of it. And let's check that by using Control and clicking the reload button. Okay, so it's going to stay. So we actually could get rid of this, and we need to by uploading a custom favicon to our site. Otherwise, people know it's just a Hostgator site, which isn't really a big deal, but we do want to get rid of it. And we'll deal with that in a little bit, or maybe in another video. But in the moment, what you want to do is a few things just to make sure your site is okay and everything went off without a hitch. Is you want to go to settings and you want to go to permalinks. And you're going to want to go ahead and just click post name again and save changes. It's not going to change it in the duplicator and all that, and the duplicator does a great job of making sure all your data is the same. But this, they used to tell you to do this in the old version, and it's just kind of stuck with me as a habit to do it every time when I move a site to a new place. So just go ahead and do that again, and you're going to see, look, this little word fence message is following us around now because we changed to a new place. So at this point, everything else in your site should be exactly as you left it. And by the way, this duplicator screen, you can actually close it now because we don't need it anymore. Okay, so in the all-in-one SEO pack, as you can see, everything moved over. All your site, everything that we have done so far did not change at all. This is an exact clone of what we have on our local host. And so on our local host, you can actually close this because you're done working on it. You've finished. We might go back to it later, I don't know, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and shut it down over here because now we're going to be working on the actual live site. And another thing that you want to check that we talked about, if you remember, as I said in the reading settings, sometimes if you have discourage search engines checked, if you did that on your local host, which remember I said we don't even need to, right? It's kind of redundant. It's telling search engines not to index a site that they can't even see, and they'll never crawl. So that's not a big deal. You'd want to leave it unchecked anyway. You only really want this checked if you're building your site on a live server and you don't want them to cache what you currently have. You want to finish beforehand. And like they say here, it really is up to search engines to honor this request. I don't think they do. Like I said in an earlier video, I think they still do it anyway. They cache it, they just don't display it until you tell them they can. I also encourage that if you did have this checked on your local host, you uncheck it and then save it here. And that way the robots are not your robots.txt file isn't restricting them from coming to your site. Okay, beyond that, Everything else in your site should work pretty much out of the box. One thing that's going to work out of the box that did not work, like I talked about in the last couple videos, was a contact form. Our contact form, remember, would not actually send emails because it didn't have a server to send from. It had no server set up. It was just on a local host. Where in this case, we actually can type some stuff in and send an email to my email. Let's just go web.com, favorite movie, Back to the Future, and car, Model A, which is the best one, and subject, we're just going to say, hi, I'm Jane. Remember, that was my example, and then, hey, what's up? Okay, and this should go ahead and send through now because we are on a physical server. Okay, so after we submitted that contact form, it actually went to the home page. And we actually need to change this. It went to this Bellflower site by default. It redirected. But the script, it's interesting that it redirected here because it actually has the wrong URL in it. If you remember correctly, we put in localhost / new site. We actually need to grab this here, our homepage domain, our homepage, and put that in here. There you go. So that's going to go ahead and redirect the contact form to our homepage properly. So yeah, when you go to hit the update, it's going to give you this word fence firewall block, and that's good. That's what we wanted to do, but we're going to whitelist this action of editing this code here. So now we're going to hit update, and it's going to turn yellow. That lets us know that it's been done. Okay, so now our contact us page is properly, well, let's go ahead and hit the update as well. And our contact us page is now updated properly to redirect to the home page on that script. And we could actually, remember, we could send that wherever we want. So if we had like a custom thank you page or whatever, we could send that there. And if you take it out, when it gave that message that just said your message has been sent, it would just do that. It actually wouldn't go anywhere. That was me kind of giving you an example of the redirect working and the email working. And I also wanted to show an example right here. This is the email for the WordPress and 10 or less website that I told you about. And take a look. So I just sent myself that test email, and look how it actually came through. And look at the information that was replaced. So Bob's New Flowers, hi, I'm Jane. Remember I gave that example that if that was the subject, that's what it would say. And it came from Bob's New Flowers, and it was replied to Bob at test, because remember, that's who it's from. That's who I sent it from. I could have put like Jane at test.com or whatever. I just put Bob. But I'm sorry if that's a little confusing. It should have been like Jane at Gmail or something. And then that's what it would have shown here when I put in the contact form. But look down here. From Bob and Bob at test. And hi, I'm Jane was my subject, my body. Hey, what's up? The URL was the URL I put in. The Model A was the car I selected. And I remember what I said about the apostrophe S. Check this out. Bob's favorite movie is Back to the Future. So everything went through exactly as we intended. Our contact form is working exactly like we thought, the way we set it up on our local host, and it's and the way that we configured it inside the plugin is working just fine as well. And now that we have this site here, this is a physically accessible site on the web, and we've taken it all the way to that point. Now what we're going to do in some of the future videos upcoming on this is we're going to focus on a few different elements, which is HTTPS for your site, which is getting this to have an HTTPS. Setting up the name servers through a Cloudflare probably might be in this video series. That might be in a separate security-based video series where I show a little more intermediate security stuff. Because this whole course, like I've iterated probably at least a dozen times now, is just the absolute basics for somebody who's trying to figure out, okay, what is WordPress? Is it even free? What is it? Why would I use it? How can I build a website on it? That's essentially what this is about. And it's showing you some more advanced strats for moving it to a server and setting it up on your local host and everything. Kind of some stuff that most people don't know at all when they first start. So we're probably going to do an advanced series that's separate on security. And I just kind of wanted to point that out. But I will definitely be showing speed optimization. Image speed optimization for your website is vitally important. Making sure your images are down, your code's down. And I'm going to go over some tools about speed optimization and how you can figure out if your site's slowing down and what's slowing it down and how to speed it up and stuff like that. And some other stuff too on how to change this site up, because at this point it would just be about, if we'd already edited it on our local machine, all this stuff would have been changed already and all of it would have been functioning, because we would have done all that on our local host before we moved it. We would have had all our colors we wanted, and we would have had all our pictures and our contacts and all that. So when we launched our site, it was ready to just start putting on a business card. I think that's going to wrap us up for part 19 here. Next part's going to be Big 20, and I'm not sure what Big 20 is going to be about. Maybe, like I said, we might focus on speed and speed setup and integration. I'm not 100% sure yet. I have a few different things I know I want to cover, and so we'll have to just figure out which direction we go in the next one. But as always, like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know if this was cool and helpful. I love Duplicator. It is one of my favorite plugins of all time. And so it was kind of cool to get to show it here. And like I said, too, we're building up to a series where I'm going to show you how to configure a base template you always start with using Duplicator versus the WordPress package from default. And you can kind of already see where that's going. So I look forward to seeing you guys in Big 20.